But then the question is, what's the smart play with Deebo? Is it smart to give a receiver $70 million guaranteed that you're using like a running back when running backs, there's a whole lot of teams in the NFL that don't want to give that second contract to a running back. I think the Niners ought to take the picks if they can get 3 out of those 4 picks from the Jets, which is a big question.
Yeah,
but
sure.
If they can get 3 out of those 4 picks, I'm taking those picks. And you're right, he has to be replaced, but you might have to replace him with a running back and a receiver because you have Ayuk, you have Kittle. You could probably find another receiver, but you're not. What you really miss is what you talked about when after the Arizona game, they start handing it to Deebo.
Yeah,
and then he gave them a dynamic runner threat that they don't have without him. So if they can get Kenneth Walker the third or somebody like that in the draft out of Michigan State, maybe you can replace him with a running back than trying and a receiver. I mean, you're probably going to have to replace him with numbers anyway. I don't know. It's a tough call because they did this with DeForest Buckner. They got out from underneath Buckner. They went to Kinlaw. They replaced him, position wise, but they never replaced that interior rusher that commands a double team, and their defensive front has not been the same without Buckner. So it's a projection and it's a risk.
Well, and you're right about Garoppolo. The Niners have already made their decision. They made their decision leading up to the draft last year. They made their decision. And so you're right. You have to give the keys to the car to Lance, but that doesn't mean it's going to work and the car is going to drive perfectly down the road. I think there are going to be some big time bumps, particularly in the first several weeks, just based on his lack of experience. And then, so I'm looking at the 49ers right now, and I'm thinking about, okay, in the months of December in the playoffs, a football team that's not going to have Garoppolo a quarterback, and under your scenario, which you might very well be right, not have Samuel. And we're now looking at that division. Will the Rams have a Super Bowl hangover? And who the hell knows what's going on with Arizona with Kyler Murray? Can you figure that out? I mean, they were 9-2, and Murray was talked about as the MVP of the league. And then Hopkins gets hurt, and they just went right down the toilet. Seattle now without Wilson, obviously, that's not going to be a factor. So I'm trying to figure out where the 49ers fit in here with a quarterback that, yes, has a lot of upside. We know that. But that's all it is right now. It's upside. We don't know. We don't have a body of work on him. And now if you have Samuel not in that lineup as well, I'll tell you the one thing, it is going to be a lot of question marks and a lot of unknowns going into this season instead of a sure thing. Say what you want about Garoppolo, and again, I know this is not sexy he won, okay? And the bottom line is you win. And I'm with you in that year that they went to the Super Bowl. The Niners had the best defense in football. And in the fourth quarter, he missed Kittle on a couple of wide open throws that probably would have cemented the game. I'm with you on that. But the results are the results, all right? They're pretty damn good. Now you don't have him, and now you don't have Samuel under your scenario, which could very well play out. A lot of unknowns, Larry, going into this training camp, going into the season. That's the way I look at the